Another chorus for your ears only. I'm David Alpern.
I'm Eddie Robinson with this quote from the news. I know that you have loved ones who dreamed this would happen and did not live to see it. That was Rhode Island Governor Lincoln Chafee on signing legislation that makes his state the 10th to make gay marriage legal. Also, this other quote from the news, I want to do the right thing and not hide anymore. That was Jason Collins of the NBA's Washington Wizards on becoming the first active player on a major American sports team to announce he's gay. He won praise from some fellow players as well as Presidents Obama and Clinton, but others in the sport maintained moral and religious objections. Now this.
I feel like $1 million. I feel simply out of sight. So come on down, I'm throwing a ball tonight.
Oh, me, what a perfect he. Isn't he the nuts? Isn't he the man? Isn't he adorable?
Their fame and following crossed racial lines, but they suffered their share of prejudice even while mingling with the cream of white society in the decades before, during, and after World War II. Bobby Short and Mabel Mercer also helped set standards for cabaret and the interpretation of classic American songs. Known best for working solo, the two departed icons performed in sequence and together in a legendary concert at Manhattan's Town Hall 45 years ago, which will be celebrated by their musical airs at that same venue later this month.
The 45th anniversary concert on May 16th is sponsored by the Mabel Mercer Foundation, dedicated to keeping their kind of music playing. Among the performers is our frequent guest, Andrea Marcovicci, cabaret royalty in her own right, who devoted an entire show to Mabel and her music. She's also shared the stage with Bobby at various events, and she nearly matched his 35-year record at New York's Café Carlyle with her 25 years of appearances at the Algonquin Hotel's Oak Room before it closed. This Saturday, May 11th, she brings her Good Feeling show, Smile, to the Tillis Center on Long Island. But now, for your ears only, Andrea joins us to talk more about Mabel and Bobby. Welcome back to our show.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Remind us of Mabel's mixed roots in England and early success in Paris before World War II.
Well, she was born to a teenager named Emily Wadham, who was a music hall performer. Her father was Mr. Mercer, a black American jazz musician who was just unfortunately going through town. Mabel never met him and wanted to her whole life. That's why she took the name Mercer, hoping that he would find her. She went to convent school, then she toured music halls, ended up in Paris, and worked for the famous Bricktop. That's where she learned her style of going through tables and singing at individual tables for people.
She came to America to escape the war, eventually became a model for other singers, even the great Frank Sinatra. Talk about the star status she developed, even winning the President's Medal of Freedom from Ronald Reagan.
Well, she made concert appearances throughout the United States. She recorded for Atlantic, but what I think gave her star status, in my opinion, was that no matter where she played, whether it was Tony's or the St. Regis or the Living Room or her own club, the Byline Room, everybody used to say, "Let's go to Mabel's tonight."
I know you never saw her perform, but I did after a muddy month of Army basic training. I couldn't think of anything more elegant for my first weekend past, and she didn't disappoint. How would you describe her style?
I call it Shakespearean with a wink. After years and years of, she sang in smoky rooms, and she never sang with a microphone in her early years, so her voice changed. It became very fragile with a very small range. So she relied a great deal on what we call parlando, which is speech singing. And as a result, the lyric was everything, and she acted it. That's why I say Shakespearean. She acted it thoroughly. She also just sat in a rather queenly chair, which gave the impression that she was doling out these lyrics, each word as a gift.
Bobby Short was a homegrown product with modest beginnings in Danville, Illinois, and vaudeville. What was special about his approach to popular music and showmanship?
Well, beyond what you just heard, which to me sounds like sheer joy, doesn't it? Just joy. I mean, he's so ebullient. He was a terrific and a very stylish pianist. He was a gifted interpreter of every way. But like Michael Feinstein and Steve Ross, Bobby was an archivist. And he always surprised you with songs that he seemed to know only he knew. So you would go back and see him over and over and over again for these treasures.
After one of his Carlisle shows, Bobby shared with my table some off-color lyrics to Cole Porter's You're the Top, including a King Kong-connected rhyme for the breasts of Venus. But would you say that he, like Mabel, was at least as elegant as his sophisticated, mostly white audiences, including the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Gloria Vanderbilt, Jacqueline Kennedy? And in that way, did they both help to some degree advance the image of African Americans beyond the celebrity of boxers and ball players and jazz musicians and politicians?
Absolutely. When you think about Bobby, you think about elegance and grace. And, of course, you remember the Charlie commercial. And I absolutely agree with you that you can't think about him without thinking about his haberdashery. And I think it was very much an advancement for everybody that came after him.
Any tips or insights you picked up from appearing with him on performance or just persistence? He performed practically to the end of his life.
Yes, concentration. I remember being backstage with Bobby when we were about to go on at Town Hall, and he was going over his lyrics, and he was absolutely planning his performance, just like the rest of the 20-somethings that were backstage with him.
What else would you want people to know about the legacy and importance of these two singular performers, Mabel and Bobby?
Well, that they chose, not only the classics, but they chose some wonderful unknown songs. I mean, at the time that they were working, Alec Wilder was unknown, Cy Coleman, Carolyn Lee. And we're going to hear on the night of the 16th a nice mix of these songs that at that time were unknown.
Andrea Marcovicci is among the stars who'll perform at a 45th anniversary celebration of the legendary 1968 Town Hall appearance of Mabel Mercer and Bobby Short, back at New York's Town Hall at 8 p.m. on May 16th, with tickets available there or through mabelmercer.org. Before that, Andrea brings her own feel-good show, Smile, to the Tillis Center in Brookville, Long Island, at 7:30 and 9:30 on Saturday, May 11th.
And here's to us for all that we have, and for thanks to our merciful star.
Skies of blue and muddling through, just for me and for you, as we are.
And this quote from the news: "Rich women don't want to look punk or grunge." That was Cameron Silver, a vintage boutique owner in L.A., on the challenge dressing wealthy celebrity clients for the annual Costume Institute Gala, whose theme this year is punk.
Next, to keep the songs alive, a new approach by jazz stylist Jane Monheit, for your ears only.